Integrated Marketing Communications, or MARCOM, and we've talked about the promotional mix, advertising, public relations, sales promotion. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to personal selling. And personal selling will be covered in detail in a later chapter, but let's just talk about here how it's evolved from traditional selling to relationship selling. Traditional selling are attempts to persuade the buyer into a specific point of view. This historically creates a win-lose outcome. This is sometimes called the hard sell. Nowadays, most firms eschew traditional selling and prefer to go with relationship selling. Now, the objective of relationship selling is to create long-term relationships to try to create a win-win outcome. A final element of the promotional mix is social media. Social media are promotion tools used to facilitate conversations among people online. And we will cover social media in greater detail in a later chapter as well. But let's talk about social media for a minute here and look at where it is from. We can really look at three different types of digital media. There is owned media, where literally the company owns the distribution. These would be things like websites and blogs. There is paid media, banner ads, sponsor posts, and then there is so-called earned media, media coverage, search engine optimization, publicity activities. Well, social media really lives in this sweet spot right here. Social media is concentrated here between owned and earned media, with some but not much paid media, depending on the strategy. What you're trying to do is to get your customer through AIDA. And let's talk about the AIDA concept, and that stands for AIDA. That stands for attention, interest, desire, action. This is the model that outlines the process for achieving promotional goals in terms of stages of consumer involvement with the message: attention, interest, desire, action, sometimes called awareness, interest, desire, action. But what you're trying to do is move the consumer through those steps to get them first thinking about it, and then feeling about it, and then doing something about it. You're going to use different media and different promotion tools depending on whether you're trying to get attention, interest, desire, or action. For example, if we look at this grid here, advertising, public relations, social media are all very effective at getting both attention and interest. Personal selling is also very effective at getting interest. But these are not nearly as effective, except for personal selling, as actually getting the decision made, action. So oftentimes you will use different types of media depending on exactly what you're trying to do, get attention, generate interest, develop desire, or finally get commitment to action. Because there are different types of buying decisions, and so there's different media that are used for that. For example, routine decisions. Routine decisions, advertising, sales promotion, those are both great for those routine decisions. Now, decisions that are neither routine nor complex, advertising and public relations, work well for those. And complex, difficult buying decisions, well, personal selling and print advertising because you can contain so much more information there. Those are both very, very successful for more complex buying decisions. Last concept I want to cover here is push strategy versus pull strategy. Now, in a push strategy, the marketer is trying to push the product away from himself, herself, towards the consumer. So here's what happens in a push strategy. The manufacturer promotes to the wholesaler promotes to the retailer promotes to the consumer, and then the consumer buys from the retailer. In other words, we're trying to push it through the channels. Pull strategy is just the opposite. In a pull strategy, we target not the wholesaler, but we go all the way to the end user, to the consumer. We target the consumer with the intent to get the consumer to pull it through the channels. So we target the consumer, And the manufacturer promotes to the consumer demands the product from the retailer demands the product from the wholesaler, and the wholesaler demands the product from the manufacturer. So there's the difference, fundamental difference between a push strategy where we're trying to push it away from us and a pull strategy where we're trying to convince the consumer to reach all the way back, and pull it through the channels. Promotion, one of the 4 Ps, can be the most important one of the 4 Ps for ultimately getting decisions made.